Who that's going to beat them Saints? It's the Atlanta Falcons, of course, but they'll have to start with stopping Alvin Kamara.
You are Locked On Falcons, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everyone, to another illustrious episode of the Locked On Falcons podcast, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs, who are going to help you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions apply. So if you don't know me, I'm your very humble host, Aaron Freeman, a.k.a. Mr. Drew, a.k.a. the iron that sharpens the iron, a.k.a. Mr. a.k.a. And I've been covering the Atlanta Falcons for a very long time, formerly at FalcFans.com, RIP. Still going strong in this illustrious podcast, and I thank each and every one of you that goes strong with me as everydayers. That means you make this podcast your first listen each and every day. And to become an everyday, all you have to do is subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So today's episode, I am joined by Jarvis Davis, an illustrious guest. He covers all of Atlanta sports over at Locked On Sports Atlanta. Great things going on for the Atlanta Hawks. We'll see what's going on with this Georgia Bulldogs team and if they can rise up the college playoff rankings and all that stuff. But of course, Jarvis also enjoys talking about these pesky Atlanta Falcons, this football team that has wormed its way into our hearts this season with solid football play, which is a welcome change for this organization over the last several years. But Jarvis, my friend, they got a big game this week against their pesky rivals, their hated rivals, the New Orleans Saints. And for me, I think a big key for this game is going to be stopping the run. And it's a similar conversation we had a couple weeks ago when we talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? They lose Chris Godwin, they lose Mike Evans, and we're sitting there and everybody's saying, oh, well, this will be a cakewalk to a win. It's like, well, not really. It's like, there's two phases of football: running the football, throwing the football. And if you can't throw the football, then you run the football and you play the Atlanta Falcons. Usually you can run the ball pretty effectively. You talked about this last week ahead of the Cowboys game. You didn't want to see the Cowboys have a get-right game. They did have some positive success running the football in that game, and I'm curious, are you concerned about the Saints team, who are not the worst run team in the NFL like the Dallas Cowboys were, and at various points in the season have been the best team in the NFL, or close to it in terms of running the football, with potentially Chris Olave down, with no Rashid Shaheed? Can the Saints just simply lean on Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara and beat the Falcons? And how important is it for the Falcons run defense to finally step up this week against New Orleans?
It's vital. It's the only way that the defense is going to have any type of success after their performance from last week, right? If you allow Alvin Kamara to go off like he did against the Carolina Panthers, even though they did not win the game, they were supposed to win the game, but they lost to the Carolina Panthers. The man had 29 carries for 155 yards, man, at 5.3 yards a pop. That sounds kind of familiar. Like, guys have been running the ball from a very, very efficient standpoint. For those you don't know who are football novice, anything over 4 yards of carry is pretty doggone good. Because guess what? We talk about down and distance on the Atlanta Football Party. We're going to talk about it right now. Like, you run the ball twice and you get 8 yards. You talking about 3rd and 2? Oh, my gosh. That is a offensive play caller's dream to be in that scenario, because the playbook is wide open and the defense coordinator is trying to figure out how in the heck he going to stop this dude, or he just don't want to give it. He might even be playing it safe because he don't want to give up the big play and try to get in the next round of downs, because that's just how you have to think as a defense coordinator, because those are some of the things that will really kill you, slowly throughout the game if you're constantly allowing the offense to be in 3rd and short situations. So I feel like this is one of those games, like it was last week, where you can look at the injuries and you can look at them, being on this losing streak and everything. Oh, Falcons beat them last time. You can do all that stuff like you want to, but best believe they're gonna turn around and hand that ball off to Alvin Kamara, and you're gonna have to stop that dude. And oh yeah, Taysom Hill historically has always found a way to prove that he belongs in NFL when he plays against the guys in black and red.
Yes. My good friend Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints. I can't prove this, but I have the theory that he never talks about Taysom Hill except for in the weeks leading up to the Falcons game, because you don't have to worry about Taysom Hill in the other 15 games that are played this season. But the two where the Atlanta Falcons play, Taysom Hill is going to be the biggest factor in those matches. But I do feel like there's a better chance that the Falcons' run defense will step up this week because of the way that the Saints play on offense, which is a lot of two tight end sets. They actually use a fullback. It hurts my heart, Jarvis, to see a fullback lining up on that opposite side of the field. Although, shout out to Charlie Warner, he's doing great jobs here in Atlanta, not as a fullback, but as a motion tight end. So I'm getting the results of a fullback without necessarily the process of a fullback watching this Falcons offense. But one of the things that does when you have multiple tight ends and a fullback is teams get to play base defense, right? And I really think one of the biggest issues the Falcons have struggled with when they've struggled stopping the run have been basically teams getting them, playing three wide receivers, getting the Falcons in nickel. You get a softer box, you get less bodies in the box. And that's when the teams just basically, we're going to punch you in the mouth. We're going to run downhill. We're going to double team and just move guys off the ball. We're going to get guys climbing to the second level, taking out your linebackers. And you have seen throughout the season that has been a problem for the Atlanta Falcons. But I feel like against the Saints team who like to run outside zone, who want to get in that base personnel, I feel like the Falcons will stand a better chance against this Saints run defense than they have in previous games, where to me it was just kind of like, well, I remember that Carolina game. I was like, Carolina's going to be able to run the football against the Falcons with Chuba Hubbard. The goal for the Falcons is to score enough points to force them to stop running the football in this game. And obviously that's going to help this team as well if the offense can score points and force the Saints to have to play from behind without their top weapons in the passing game. But I do feel like at least this week, given the matchup, that this run defense has a better chance of stopping the run. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm with you, because here's the thing, man. The more that I see James Smith-Williams on that outside linebacker spot and base, the happier I get, because he's been kind of the model when it comes to how you're supposed to set the edge in the run game. And I feel like that's been something that he is taking to heart. And I know a lot of people coming into the season during training camp, people were like, why is James Smith-Williams starting? What's the deal with him? What's his deal? And then you start at the beginning of the year, you start seeing how he was even at practice in training camp. I was out there, had my own eye. I seen it with my own eyes. I was like, okay, I understand. This guy's gonna be a solid run defender, and I think that has carried over into the season. And when you talk about a team that wanted to run 12 personnel, and even with the changes and everything, with Dennis Allen being out, Rizzi said that, interim head coach Rizzi said that, hey, we ain't changed anything on offense. Everything is okay over there. But we just gotta we gotta figure out this defense. So they moved a couple of guys around on the defensive side of the football, but their offense is the same. So I feel like that's gonna be a one up for Jimmy Leck to at least know what to expect offensively. And then we talking about being in base, which makes me happy. I love base stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I
Sure,
feel
is
like
that because you're a nose tackle and you is that
yes,
okay?
yes,
I
yes. I play
just want
nose guard.
okay.
So yes. I like the idea of taking on double teams, you know, for all you simple-minded people out there, that are going 12th grade, or 5th grade, mindset, and just laughed at what I just said. Calm down, relax. I know what I just said. But yeah, man, I just love the idea of stopping people from getting to where they want to go. And in a run game that speaks to mindset, because hey, what we want the Falcons to do on offense, run the football down the throat, be able to have success when people knowing you're going to run the football. So if you can actually be on the opposite end of that and stop it, like, hey, we want to run the football, we want to be able to establish something, and we know Alvin Kamara is going to get the rock. So hey man, like look, let's go out there and stop it. And I think 3-4 is just a wonderful defense to be able to do it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we will continue this conversation looking ahead to this Saints matchup, and we'll pick Jarvis's brain on what else he is watching for in this specific. I can't talk specific matchup as we continue today's Locked On Falcons. For all of you that are familiar with collecting cards, and even those who aren't, you can wind up spending a lot of money on a Patrick Mahomes rookie card or the soon-to-be extremely valuable Zachary Ricochet rookie card. And I want to help everyone save money thanks to the slab packs from arenaclub.com. Now it's possible to score gym mints for a fraction of their retail price. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll be immediately placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. And whether you're buying, selling, trading, or just displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform that you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL. That's arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL, code LockedOnNFL for 10% off your first purchase. Guys, you ever feel like you need a little boost in the bedroom? And it's time to stop worrying about your performance and get Hims so you can feel confident, knowing that you can get up and get down when the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Get doctor entrusted ED treatments, the chewable hard mints, Viagra, Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. And the process is 100% online, so that there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Just answer a series of questions on their website, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option and prescribe your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Continuing the conversation with Jarvis Davis of Locked On Sports Atlanta, looking ahead to this Week 10 matchup. And Jarvis, I ask you every week, sort of, whether it's a key to victory or just something that you'll be watching for when we get to Sunday that we may or may not be talking about on that Locked On Sports Atlanta Locked On Falcons postcast. Immediately after the game with myself, yourself, and Tanisha Batiste, breaking it down for you guys to give you all the thoughts, our immediate reactions after the game. But sort of what are you watching for in this Week 10 matchup against the Saints?
I want to see what this offense is going to do, man. Can Kirk come save the day again, or can he continue to get this offense in a space where it can be a force in this league? Can you continue to put your name in conversations about being one of the top 5, top 6 quarterbacks in the league? You know, and just to see how the love and all the admiration that Kirk is getting from, not only locally, but he's starting to get a lot of love nationally as well. So, and seeing how he's handling himself. And I understand that, I know deep down he's like, yeah, Minnesota, I understand. You thought I was done. You thought I was done. You thought I was down, out, done. Y'all wanted to replace me. Y'all even went and got Sam Darnold and JJ drafted JJ McCarthy and all that stuff. Get me up out of there, right? But he's down here, he's doing his doggone thing. And I think that all parties involved are happy at this point, right? Because, when you have a guy like Kirk, in a room like you talk, I think you made a great analogy. We talking about having that grown up in a room. It just speaks to just that's it being the difference, because I think that all the issues that this team has had at the quarterback spot since Matt Ryan was traded away for peanuts and a bag of donuts. I think that this is something that people have to really appreciate and understand that, hey, this is a guy like this healthy. they don't come around like that. They don't put up these type of numbers. And I think, you know, from a scheme, offensive scheme standpoint, I feel like this is the type of game that I feel Kyle Pitts can really get into his bag. Like he can really prove that, hey man, this what you saw against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's real. That's who I am. And it wasn't an aberration. It wasn't just a matchup thing. I can be out here, I can go out here and be consistent and be the tight end that I was drafted to be.
I think you bring up Kirk Cousins, you bring up Kyle Pitts, two players that got a lot of criticism in that after that first Saints matchup, right?
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts being blanked in that game, and we went into that week thinking, we had just seen what Dallas Goedert had done to that Saints defense the previous week, and we were like, oh, Kyle should eat against this team and to get shut down like that. And then Kirk Cousins not having the best game in that one, and sort of closing out what was a lackluster, I guess you could say, September for Kirk Cousins before we got to Kirktober and things started going in the right direction. And I think now, that we're in Kirkvember, I feel like we can look ahead to this game as kind of a litmus test to sort of see how far this offense has come, to basically be like, okay, those types of performances from Kirk Cousins, from Kyle Pitts, to critical players to this team's success, not only this year, but into the future, how far have they come? So I do think pointing out those two individuals, because you saw, again, the Saints still struggle against tight ends because Jatavian Sanders, had a breakout game. I remember mentioning him to Julian Council of Locked On Panthers when we did the crossover a couple weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, I don't think Jatavian Sanders is going to do anything. And then to see him go off against the Saints, I'm like, okay, all right. Like when he's saying they can't do nothing against the Falcons defense, and then it's like, okay. So to see him go off, I'm like, okay, well, imagine what Kyle Pitts can do against that defense, but seeing what those guys can do. So I think you raised some great points there with those two individuals.
And you know what? And just think going back to it and just listening to Drake London talk about his status and everything. I don't know if he plays, and if he does, shoot, I feel like he'll be on a pitch count, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And I think this is the perfect game to get 8 back in the fold. Like I said, he only had one catch last week. His Cowboys game, granted, it was a big one, but I feel like getting 8 involved will suit this Falcons offense and get them to that magic number, because getting to 30 points, man, that's a big deal, as your defense continues to progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens with Drake London, but I agree with you. It's not looking, we're not hearing the same things about, oh, the usual optimism at this point in the week that make you feel a lot more confident about a player like we heard with Chris Lindstrom last week, or, Grady Jarrett earlier in this week. So we'll see what's what as the week unfolds. But Jarvis, before we get into a linebacker conversation about our two favorite linebackers to debate on this podcast, I do want to ask you, because it's been a topic on Locked On Falcons all week long, sort of where you stand on this. How concerned are you about the potential interim coach bump that teams seem to get, where you see, I did the research earlier and talked about it earlier this week, where going back over the last 10 years, interim coaches are 12-11 in their first game, which, doesn't seem like anything at face value, but when you consider all 23 of those previous coaches were losing a lot of games, and that's a big improvement from what those teams were prior to that. So I'm curious, where do you sort of stand on the interim coach bump, the alleged interim coach bump? Do you think it's real or not?
I think there's something to it, right? Because for me, is just thinking about, just being in the locker room and understand I've been in losing locker rooms and I've been in winning locker rooms. So when I think back to that particular situation and that mindset, I feel like it's depending on how bad it is. If it's really, really bad, and the interim head coach comes in and just levels things out, it was like, because here's the thing, man. The assistant coaches know what the gripes are. They understand the player's plight or whatever issue that the players have with the head coach. if things are going bad, because they have those conversations. They don't talk about them, obviously, but they have those conversations. So I feel like Rizzi had a plan already, you know, just in case I take over, here's what I'm going to change. Like you said, soon they announced that he was the interim head coach. Oh, offense good. Oh, straight over there. We ain't got no issues over here. But guess what he did? He tied Grantham behind, ain't working with the defensive line no more. And they brought in Brian Young, who was a pass rush specialist. Now he's working with the defensive line. So when you think about those things, and those are the big issues I feel that he knew about, or that he saw. And I think that there is some truth to that interim head coach bump, because like those guys immediately come in and they change what they feel was the issue. And a lot of times all it takes is a of truth to life to what the issue was, and you actually have a good solution for it. Then you start to get those guys behind you, and you start to bring their locker room together. And then who knows what you're able to do, going for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think this is one of those instances where it does feel like when you look at sort of the signs of talking about, okay, which teams do benefit from that new energy in the building. It as you said, it is the
Then
team.
it's a rival too, Free.
Yeah.
This is a rivalry, Free. Regardless of who had the head coach spot, man, this is a rivalry. So I think you can, if there's any time where you're gonna get a bump, based on what I just laid out, and you added that rivalry factor as well. Yeah, man, they need to be careful.
Yeah.
Raheem Morris, I'm sure he's gonna be talking about these same things leading up to this game. So yeah,
Yeah.
you better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're going to get the Saints' best punch, because there's been a lot of stuff coming out of New Orleans about how Dennis Allen had kind of lost that locker room. People bringing up stuff from last year with the
Yeah,
whole running up the score stuff and
yeah.
all that. So it feels like there's a lot of
Everybody want to talk now,
yeah, a lot of
Everybody
gripes
getting quoted now.
yeah, a lot of gripes that have been building up over the months, and so for that team, it may be a breath of fresh air, and the thing that they want to be able to do to get a win this week against the Falcons, a rivalry, as you said, like it will feel so big. So I do feel like they're going to get that bump. I think the Falcons should be able to weather the storm. I don't know, whatever you need to, and we'll see if they can.
Whatever cliche you want to throw out there, yeah. Go ahead and say it, man. Don't hold back, man. Come on now.
No. Just say it. I'm trying to like, how do I put a button on that so we can get into the topic I really want to talk to you about, Jarvis, which is,
there you go.
Let's get into this Troy Andersen versus Nate Landman. And basically, the question I want to ask you, Jarvis, is, do the Falcons need Troy Andersen in order to win this game? And so we'll get into that, and you guys will get Jarvis's answer, and we will settle the Trojan War right now here on the Locked On Falcons podcast as we wrap up today's episode.
That's a tease.
Even though the trade deadline has passed, NFL teams are still looking for those quality professionals that fit their roster, and you're looking for those quality professionals that are going to fit your small business this fall as well. And it's so much easier for you because you have LinkedIn Jobs, who have the tools that are going to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just any old job board. They're going to help you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but just might be open for the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Join the 2.5 million small businesses that use LinkedIn for hiring by posting your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page that you place your bets on. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, guys, we are back. And let's talk about the thing that Jarvis and I have gone back and forth quite a bit, with I've been Team Troy, I guess you could say, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, I believe, Troy hasn't always performed great when he's on the field, but we need to see what this guy can do because you see the potential, you see the ceiling. And Jarvis, you've been much more critical of like, you can sell me all these dreams about ceiling and potential and all this stuff. And, I need to see actual performance on the football field. And that's why you have been much more supportive of Nate Landman getting more of those opportunities in the past. But the last time we saw Troy Andersen on the football field, it did look like he was starting to live up to his potential. And you go into this matchup, you talk about the need to slow down Alvin Kamara. I feel like you kind of need Troy Andersen in this matchup because we saw him be very effective, basically, being that shadow to Alvin Kamara in that previous matchup and doing a great job sort of keeping him contained. Also, you saw him making the big plays in that game with the pick six and whatnot. And so I kind of feel like, if we get into a game where it's Alvin Kamara versus Nate Landman, I don't think that's going to go in the Falcons' favor. If it's Alvin Kamara versus Kane Ellis, I think Kane Ellis can hold his own because he's practiced a lot against Alvin Kamara, but it's not going to go in the Falcons' favor. And then you're removing one of the Falcons' biggest pass rush threats, and Lord knows the Falcons cannot afford to take anything away from their pass rush at this point in the season. So to me, Jarvis, it's plain as day. The Falcons need Troy Andersen to play this week. So I'm just curious, do you agree with that sentiment?
Okay. So
see how you dance around this one. Let's go.
Yeah. Look, man, okay, here we go, y'all. All right, the short answer, yes, they need him in order to have some success against this offense because and it doesn't hurt me to say that. I can see the look on your face. It doesn't hurt me to say that because, like, man, at the end of the day, man, like I go off of what I see. I trust my eyeballs, man. And people can say whatever they want. They can not like my opinion or they think I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's cool. But guess what? I'm gonna talk about what I see. That just I'm that's how I'm built. That's how I constructed. That's how I was taught. I can't sugarcoat it any kind of way. So in this game, yes, they need Troy. They need Troy. Yes, they need Troy. Can he bring that pick? Can he do another pick six? Because they're gonna need that too. Like, I'm all about getting this offense extra possessions, man, because follow the money, man. If you want to know what the team identity is, follow the money. It's on 100 mil right there with one person, right there, 18, right over the center. So, hey, we're going to put the ball in your hands, sir, so you can give us 30. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. So, because I even think back to Deion Jones, because shoot, he was pretty much drafted to doggone guard Alvin Kamara. Like that, hey man, 4'5", that's your man. When we play New Orleans, when we go down there, go in your hometown, you know what I'm saying? LSU, all that stuff. Yeah, man, put on. But make sure you stay focused on number 41. That's your man. So, and I think Troy, same way. That's your man. That's who you're supposed to have. And I think it's ironic. There's a little irony in him coming back, potentially coming back this week against the New Orleans Saints, the team that he had his best game in his career, 17 tackles, pick six. Hey man, let's go. Give me 17 more. That's where I'm at with it. So yeah, man. So yeah, as much hate as people think that I have for Troy Andersen, I don't have hate for him. I just want him to perform. I want to see the speed. I want to see him use the speed on the field and not at the combine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to transfer. Can you bring that with you, sir? Like, bring your bags. I want the speed to be in there. I want the aggressiveness to be in there. I want to get rid of the uncertainty. That the hesitation. That I saw a little bit early on in this season. Come on with it, man. Like, trust what you see. Trust your eyeballs. Because, hey, man, they're going to get paid a lot of money if you do. Because, man, the way he played against the Saints last time, free, I'm all for it, man. I don't mind being wrong, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. I know they listen to these shows, so he probably heard me. He was like, man, you know what? I'm tired of Jarvis talking about me. So let me go out here and ball.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
See, that's how we're going off the rails. I knew it was coming, bro.
We got the soundbite. That's all I needed. Boom. War's won. We won the war, guys. We won the war. Everybody can go home.
And then you're not right because you try to throw shade at my boy Landman, talking about if Alvin Kamara is to be guarded by Nathan Landman. Sound like a doggone Trojan War movie trailer on it. The Falcons will not be in good shape this evening, this afternoon in New Orleans with the hurricane outside. It's gonna be a big hurricane for the Falcons defense. Like, man, come on. Then you got to be all dramatic with it, man. Why you throwing I know my boy's limitations. You know what I'm saying? I know his limitations. First and second down, baby, coming down thumping. You know what I'm saying? He been a little slow, still. Coming off that injury, you know what I'm saying? Still trying to get there. But I starting to see it. He's going to punch that ball out, too. It's coming.
Yeah, he will.
It's coming.
That's something he certainly will.
Keep eye on it.
Yeah, just, hey, Nate, just hang back a little bit. Let everybody else rally to the ball. And you just do the peanut
why you got to add extra stuff, man?
I'm just saying, like, he's him and Jesse Bates, just the little peanut punch. They do such a great job. I'm just like, I'm not saying, like, don't.
But why you got to tell my boy to fall back, though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
but he's so good at just punching it out. Just like, just wait. Everybody else is gonna hold him up, and then you just go punch the ball. That's all I need. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Golly, boys, you be throwing all a little shade at my dog, man. Come on, bro. At the Landman, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jarvis, I got what I wanted. So, unless you got anything else you want to say. So,
look, I probably ain't gonna need to come back after this. You ain't gonna have me back on the show. I just wanted you to say Troy Andersen.
That's it. I
just want to say the Falcons need Troy Andersen, and then you about to post a little the excellence, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. That's all. You probably gonna put that as your thumbnail. Like
probably something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun game. Hopefully, Troy plays well. Because boy, it would be terrible.
Oh my God.
If we spend all this week hyping it up. Oh, Troy's gonna come back and he's gonna solve the Alvin Kamara problem, and then he doesn't solve the problem, and then Jarvis is gonna come back on that post.
We'll have a moment of silence if that happens. Moment of silence for Troy Andersen. Because boy, if that dude come out there and lays an egg, oh my goodness, I don't want to hear no injury excuses now. He had plenty of time, Jack. He was like, they open up that window, bro. You still got time.
So
man, let's do it.
We'll see. We'll see if what we had to say on this battle, this war on the postcast. Make sure you guys check it out. Locked On Sports Atlanta, Locked On Falcons on your audio feeds. We'll be back on Sunday afternoon. Myself, Jarvis Davis, Tanisha Batiste, to give you the lowdown on this matchup. And of course, I'll be back on Locked On Falcons as well with a rapid reaction to break it all down and either sing the praises of Troy Andersen or make all the excuses in the world for him somehow, some way.
Oh, you forgot one. Call him out on his issues.
Well, I don't need to do that, Jarvis, because they got you for that. So you will definitely do it for both of us if it needs to be done. So I can just be like, hey, you want to hear criticism of Troy Andersen? Just go check out Locked On Sports Atlanta, because Jarvis is gonna have you come. Because I guarantee you guys, if Troy doesn't ball out, you're gonna hear about it on the postcast. You're gonna hear about it on the Atlanta football party on Monday. You're gonna hear about it on the next football party on Thursday. He'll be up there on the Hawk show talking about Troy and Zachary Rizzi ain't doing no Troy, and So Jarvis will make sure you guys know. Get all your Troy Andersen content. If Jarvis is quiet about Troy Andersen this week, it probably means something good happened. If Jarvis is very loud about Troy Andersen this week, probably means something bad happened. So check out Locked On Sports Atlanta. Check out all the great shows on the Locked On Podcast Network, getting you covered for this Week 10 action. It is all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.